Have you ever wondered why some people seem to possess an inner strength and wisdom that makes them stand out, while others struggle to find clarity in their lives? In today's video, we will explore the profound connection between emotional resilience, self-worth, and the deeper meaning behind how we guard our hearts. Through an ancient story passed down for generations, we'll unravel the hidden truths about human nature, intimacy, and the strength it takes to protect the most sacred parts of ourselves. By the end of this video, you'll gain insight into how these age-old lessons can transform the way you view relationships, trust, and the importance of emotional boundaries. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I encourage you to click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Your support means a lot, so if you find value in this video, please give it a thumbs up to help spread our message. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on today's topic. If you enjoy the content, please comment 1 below. If it doesn't resonate with you, leave a 0. Your feedback is crucial as it helps me create better videos that align with your interests. Now, let's get started. Have you ever found yourself contemplating the subtle mysteries that lie beneath the surface of our most intimate selves, pondering the deeper meaning behind a woman's tightness, wondering if it symbolizes emotions that run deeper than we realize? Let me take you on a journey that delves into the heart of an ancient tale, passed down through generations, imbued with wisdom that goes beyond the physical realm. It's a story that offers insight into the human spirit, our emotions, and the delicate ways in which we protect the most sacred parts of ourselves. In a small, picturesque village cradled by the arms of nature, there lived an old woman named Esmeralda. Her presence alone was captivating, drawing in anyone who crossed her path. Her weathered face, etched with the lines of time, spoke of a life rich with experiences, joys and sorrows, triumphs and failures, all leaving behind a wealth of knowledge. Esmeralda's stories were legendary, not just for their captivating nature but for the profound lessons they carried. On this particular evening, under a starlit sky, the youth of the village gathered around a glowing fire, their hearts open and eager to hear what Esmeralda had to share. The crackling of the fire mingled with the soft sounds of the night as Esmeralda began to speak. Her voice, gentle yet authoritative, lulled her audience into quiet anticipation. It was the kind of voice that could soothe the soul and ignite the imagination all at once. Long ago, she began, there lived a woman named Aurora. Her beauty was unrivaled, sculpted by nature itself with care and precision. Her form was admired by all, and many believed her outward appearance to be a reflection of perfection. But as Esmeralda spoke, it became clear that Aurora's beauty was only part of her story. There was something more, something that piqued the curiosity of those around her. Aurora possessed a certain physical tightness, a characteristic that set her apart and became the subject of much intrigue. People whispered about it, questioning what it might mean. Was it a mere physical trait, or did it signify something deeper, something hidden beneath the surface? With a wise smile, Esmeralda looked at her young audience, aware of the questions forming in their minds. The villagers were curious, she said, and many turned to me for answers. They wanted to understand why Aurora was different in this way, why she seemed to embody a quality that eluded them. Esmeralda paused, letting the suspense build before offering her explanation. You see, she continued, Aurora's tightness was not just a physical attribute, it was a reflection of her inner world. Her body, like a well-guarded fortress, symbolized the way she protected herself, her heart, and her soul from the outside world. It wasn't something to be judged or misunderstood. It was a sign of her strength, her self-awareness, and her deep connection to her own emotions. Esmeralda's words hung in the air, rich with meaning. Aurora's tightness was not simply about physicality, it was a metaphor for her emotional and spiritual state. She had chosen to guard herself, to keep her most vulnerable parts hidden, not out of fear but out of a deep respect for her own worth. Her tightness was a manifestation of her desire to protect the sanctity of her inner self, allowing only those who truly saw her for who she was to come closer. The young listeners leaned in, captivated by the story. Esmeralda had opened their eyes to a new way of thinking. Aurora's tightness was not something to be examined through the lens of societal expectations or superficial judgments. It was a testament to her strength and her ability to navigate the world on her terms. Her body was a reflection of the walls she built around her heart, not out of weakness, but out of a fierce commitment to herself and her own values. Esmeralda's voice grew softer as she delved deeper into the heart of the story. Aurora was not just a woman of beauty, she was a woman of substance. Her intimate tightness was not a flaw or a limitation, it was a gift, a symbol of the care she took in choosing who she allowed into her life. She understood that true intimacy, whether physical or emotional, was not something to be given lightly. It required trust, respect, and the right connection. The fire flickered, casting shadows on the faces of the young villagers as they listened intently. Esmeralda's words resonated deeply, offering them a new perspective on intimacy, one that went beyond the physical and delved into the emotional and spiritual realms. Aurora's tightness, Esmeralda said, her voice barely above a whisper, was a reflection of her soul, a soul that was pure, strong, and unyielding. She was not defined by her body, but by her heart, her mind, and her spirit. Her tightness was a symbol of the depth of her emotions, the intensity of her passions, and the strength of her character. It was a reminder to all who knew her that true value lies not in appearances, but in the essence of who we are. The young listeners were silent, their minds racing with thoughts and reflections. They had come seeking answers about something they didn't fully understand, and they left with a greater appreciation for the complexity of human nature. Aurora's story, as told by Esmeralda, was not just about a woman's physical tightness. It was about the way we all guard our hearts, the way we choose who to trust, and the importance of respecting ourselves and others in every aspect of our lives. As the night grew darker and the fire began to fade, the young villagers left with their hearts and minds full, forever changed by the story they had heard. Esmeralda had given them a gift, not just a tale, but a deeper understanding of the human spirit and the importance of guarding what is most sacred within ourselves. Esmeralda explained that Aurora's tightness represented her cautiousness, the way she protected herself and her deepest emotions. It was as if her body mirrored the walls she had built around her heart. This tightness was a shield, not of fragility, but of strength. It was the way she guarded her most vulnerable self from a world that, too often, took without giving. Aurora's tightness was the embodiment of her self-respect and control over who she allowed into her life. She was not one to give herself freely, for she knew the value of her soul, her emotions, and her love. Her intimate nature was like a locked chest, with treasures inside that only those truly worthy could unlock. The tightness wasn't just physical, it spoke of her ability to protect her purity, her dignity, and her emotional depth. If you are still watching this video, and find these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Esmeralda's story lingered in the air, the youth hanging on her every word. But she wasn't finished. Aurora may have appeared delicate, Esmeralda continued, but within her was the strength of 1,000 storms. Her exterior beauty was only a small reflection of the immense power she held within. Her tightness was a testament to her resilience, her ability to remain steadfast even when the world tried to pry open her guarded soul. The elder woman's words were a reminder that, often, the things we notice on the surface, whether it be a physical trait or a personality quirk, are just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath that exterior lies a depth of emotion, experiences, and choices that shape who we are. Aurora's tightness wasn't something to be questioned or criticized. It was a symbol of the care with which she chose to give herself, a reflection of her inner purity and determination. As Esmeralda's tale unfolded, it became clear that this wasn't just a story about a woman's body. It was about the way we all protect the most precious parts of ourselves. It's about the walls we build, not because we are weak, but because we value ourselves enough to only allow those who truly care to see what's behind them. Aurora's tightness was a sign of her emotional integrity, her strength, and her ability to maintain control over her life, no matter what others thought or desired. In listening to this story, I can't help but feel a deep sense of respect for Aurora. She teaches us a lesson that transcends physical attributes. It's about knowing your worth and not allowing anyone to take that from you. Her tightness, far from being a mere physical trait, was an outward expression of her inner sanctuary. It was a reminder that true beauty lies not in how we look, but in how we carry ourselves, how we honor our emotions, and how we choose to share them. Esmeralda's wisdom resonates deeply, reminding us that in a world where we are often pressured to give more than we are willing, there is great power in protecting what matters most. Aurora's story is one of dignity, strength, and emotional wisdom, a lesson for us all to treasure. As we navigate our own lives, may we remember that guarding our inner selves, like Aurora, is not a sign of fragility but a mark of true strength. It is through this careful protection of our emotions that we find the ability to love fully, give deeply, and remain true to who we are. When questioned about her virginity, Aurora always responded with a mysterious, gentle smile. It was as if the secret to her purity was locked away in the depths of her soul, a mystery she chose to guard. The young listeners, eager to uncover this secret, leaned in with wide eyes, hoping to understand the depth of Aurora's heart. Yet Aurora remained steadfast, keeping her most intimate thoughts and emotions hidden, like a treasure locked behind the walls of her spirit. To her, purity was not just a physical state, but a gift of the heart, a sacred offering reserved only for the one who would truly honor and cherish it. Aurora believed that love, in its truest form, was deserving of both respect and reverence. She viewed her purity as a symbol of the care she had for herself, and the value she placed on the love she would one day give. The young villagers listened in awe, their admiration for her growing with every word. In a world where choices were often questioned or disregarded, Aurora's determination to stay true to her belief seemed almost otherworldly. As Esmeralda continued, her voice carried the weight of Aurora's story. For years, Aurora held firm in her decision, refusing to bend under the pressures of a society that often mocked her. Many people in the village criticized her for being old-fashioned or out of touch. They called her decision foolish and meaningless, ridiculing her for standing against the tide of societal norms. But despite the whispers and the laughter, Aurora remained unshaken. She knew in her heart that her choice was not for anyone else to understand, and she never wavered in her belief that the right person, the one who would recognize and value her for who she truly was, would come. The young people listening sighed deeply, enchanted by Aurora's story. They found themselves swept up by her courage and determination, inspired by her strength in the face of doubt. Her resolve to remain true to her values, even when the world seemed intent on challenging them, filled them with a sense of admiration they hadn't known before. Esmeralda, sensing their emotional response, offered a final piece of wisdom. "So, my dear ones," she said softly, "whenever you find yourself doubting the importance of your own choices or feeling lost in the noise of others' opinions, remember Aurora's story. Each of us carries a treasure within, our love, our purity, our essence. And just like Aurora, we must protect it, trusting that the right person, the one who sees our true worth, will find us when the time is right." As the evening stretched on, the fire crackling softly in the background, Esmeralda's story continued. She delved deeper into the trials Aurora faced on her journey. Aurora's path wasn't easy. There were nights when she felt the weight of loneliness pressing on her heart, moments when she doubted her own strength. At times, the world's temptation seemed almost unbearable, as though they were trying to lure her away from the path she had so carefully chosen. But in every moment of doubt, Aurora found solace in her faith, in herself, in her beliefs, and in the love she knew she was worthy of. Esmeralda's words painted a vivid picture of a woman who, despite her challenges, remained unwavering. Aurora's strength did not come from her outward beauty or her ability to resist temptation. It came from her unshakable belief that her love, her purity, was a treasure worth waiting for. The young villagers were entirely captivated, their hearts wrapped in the tale of Aurora's bravery and resilience. She had faced moments of weakness, yet she never let them break her. Instead, they made her stronger, more resolved in her decision to wait for a love that mirrored her own purity. Then, on a glorious morning filled with the songs of birds and the sweet scent of blooming flowers, Aurora's patience and faith were rewarded. Destiny, it seemed, had been watching over her all along. She met a young man, noble in heart and spirit, whose eyes reflected the same kindness and purity that had guided her through the years. In that single fateful meeting, their souls recognized each other as if they had been waiting a lifetime for this very moment. They were destined to be together, two hearts that had remained true, now finding their place in each other's embrace. The young listeners, completely absorbed in the story, felt a sense of peace wash over them. Aurora's journey had been long, and at times difficult, but it was also filled with purpose and meaning. Her decision to guard her heart, her purity, had not been in vain. It had led her to the kind of love that could only be found by those who truly understood its value. Aurora's story is one of unwavering faith in oneself, of trusting that the right person will come when the time is right. It is a reminder to all of us that we are not defined by the expectations or opinions of others. Our worth is something only we can measure, and the love we give is a gift meant for those who truly appreciate it. So as Esmeralda's story came to an end, the young listeners were left with more than just admiration. They carried with them the hope that, like Aurora, they too would one day find the love that was meant for them, no matter how long the journey might be. A gentle murmur of awe swept through the group of young listeners, their imaginations captivated by the unfolding romance and the depth of Aurora's unwavering commitment to love. They found themselves mesmerized, caught up in the beauty of her story, as though they were witnessing the delicate bloom of a love that transcended the ordinary. Aurora had discovered the profound meaning behind her long wait. Her purity, once viewed merely as a promise for the future, was now understood as a living expression of her devotion to something greater than herself, a devotion to love, truth, and the deepest sense of self-worth. Every moment she had spent waiting now felt justified, as her patience had led her to the purest and most genuine love she could have ever imagined. The young listeners, their faces bright with wonder, urged Esmeralda to continue the tale, eager to hear more of Aurora's incredible journey. They longed to know what happened after Aurora found her noble beloved, a man whose heart mirrored her own purity and strength. Esmeralda's voice grew softer yet more intense as she described how Aurora and the young nobleman embarked on their life together, hand in hand. Their love was not without its challenges, but with each obstacle, their bond only deepened. They faced the trials of life like a flickering flame in the darkness, always growing stronger, always lighting the path ahead. Every adversity they faced seemed to make their love more resilient, more powerful, and more capable of withstanding the storms of life. The youth, eyes wide with anticipation, leaned in closer, eager to uncover the next chapter of this enchanting love story. They could feel the intensity of Aurora and her beloved's connection, a bond woven from the threads of mutual respect, trust, and unshakable devotion. Time passed, and Aurora and her nobleman built a life together that was rich with joy, understanding, and the kind of quiet peace that comes from knowing you are loved truly and completely. Their souls, intertwined like the roots of ancient trees, stood firm against the winds of time, unyielding in the face of life's unpredictability. With every word Esmeralda spoke, the young listeners sighed, lost in their own dreams of a love as deep and enduring as Aurora's. They could almost see her, Aurora, glowing with happiness, standing beside her beloved as they built a legacy of love that would outlast their years on this earth. And when the end of her days finally came, Aurora's departure was nothing less than poetic. As the golden sun set on the horizon, marking the close of a life well lived, Aurora left this world surrounded by the love of her faithful partner and the immense gratitude of those whose hearts she had touched along the way. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Aurora's story did not end with her passing, however. It lived on in the hearts and minds of those who remembered her, not just for her purity and courage, but for the way her love had transformed everyone around her. Her story became legend, a tale passed down from generation to generation, a beacon of hope for those who still believed in the power of true, selfless love. As Esmeralda finished her tale, a reverent silence fell over the group of young people. They sat in awe, absorbing the beauty and depth of Aurora's journey, reflecting on the lessons hidden within her story. It wasn't just a story about love. It was about waiting, about patience, about believing in something greater than the momentary pleasures of life. Aurora had shown them that love wasn't just a fleeting emotion, but a force so strong it could change lives, heal hearts, and inspire souls. The night deepened, and as the fire's embers slowly began to fade, leaving only glowing ashes, the young listeners remained, their hearts full. They carried with them the eternal memory of Aurora, the woman whose virtue, devotion, and unwavering belief in the power of love would continue to inspire generations long after the fire had gone out. As the night wore on and the stars shimmered like distant jewels in the dark sky, the crackling fire seemed to echo the wisdom shared by Esmeralda throughout the evening. The young listeners, captivated by the stories of love, patience, and self-worth, could feel that this night was special. But Esmeralda wasn't finished yet. There was one more lesson she felt compelled to share, something more personal and profound, touching on a subject often left unspoken. Her voice, calm and steady, filled the silence once again. Before we part, I wish to speak of something that is often misunderstood, something intimate yet essential to every individual's journey in life. The young people leaned in closer, their curiosity piqued. Esmeralda's wisdom had always been a guiding light, and now she was about to address something delicate yet fundamental. When we speak of a woman's intimate tightness, she began softly, it's easy to think only of the physical. Yes, in a purely physical sense, it can indicate that the muscles around the vaginal entrance are naturally more toned, which may bring certain sensations during intimacy. But, she paused, her eyes glowing with the wisdom of a lifetime, I want you to understand something far more important. The tightness of a woman's body does not, and should never, determine her worth. Just as her virginity does not define her dignity or value. Her words were like a gentle breeze, sweeping through the gathering, touching each listener's heart. They began to realize that Esmeralda was not just talking about physical traits. She was talking about how society often ties a woman's worth to things that should never define her. The young listeners nodded in quiet agreement, feeling the depth of her message, that a person's value goes far beyond appearances or bodily characteristics. Esmeralda continued, her voice carrying the weight of experience and compassion. We live in a world that sometimes places too much emphasis on the physical, on superficial things. But you must remember that each person, whether man or woman, carries within them something far more valuable than their body. It's the heart, the soul, the mind, the essence of who they are, that defines them. True beauty lies in one's kindness, in their empathy, and in the strength of their character. The young listeners were entranced by her words, their imaginations filled with the profound depth of what she was saying. They began to understand that it was not about tightness or any other physical characteristic. It was about the person's soul, their inner world, and how they chose to share that with others. Esmeralda's gaze swept across the faces of the youth, and she continued, in any intimate relationship, there is something far more important than physical attributes. It is the emotional connection, the respect you show one another, and the trust you build. You see, true intimacy is not just about bodies coming together. It's about minds meeting, hearts aligning, and souls intertwining. The foundation of a meaningful and fulfilling relationship is built on mutual understanding, communication, consent, and, most importantly, love. She paused for a moment, letting her words sink in. The fire crackled gently, and the air was filled with a quiet, reflective stillness. To truly know your own body, she continued, to understand your own needs and boundaries, and to respect those of your partner, that is where real intimacy begins. It is not about what others expect of you, but about what you expect of yourself, and how you honor the connection you share with another person. The young listeners, with eyes wide and hearts open, hung on to every word. Esmeralda was showing them a path that was not just about physical love, but about emotional and spiritual connection. She was teaching them that intimacy, in its truest form, was about understanding and respect, both for oneself and for the partner. As you go through life, she said softly, her voice like a lullaby to their spirits, remember that you are all precious. Each of you carries a treasure within, a treasure that is not defined by your body, but by the beauty of your soul and the integrity of your character. Do not let anyone or anything convince you otherwise. The value of a person is found in their heart, in the way they love, and in the way they live their truth. Her words settled over the group like a warm blanket, filling them with a sense of peace and understanding. The young people, who had come seeking stories of love and adventure, were leaving with something far greater, a new perspective on life, love, and themselves. But Esmeralda was not quite finished. When you find someone to share your life with, remember that love is not a race. It is a journey, one that should be walked with patience, kindness, and respect. Your body is yours, and it is a gift, but the most precious gift you can give someone is your heart, your trust, your love, and your truth. Cherish that, and give it only to those who truly deserve it. As the fire began to dim, the young listeners sighed, filled with a sense of gratitude for the wisdom they had received. Esmeralda had not just shared stories, she had shared life lessons that would guide them for years to come. Her final words echoed in their hearts: seek understanding, practice empathy, and always hold on to respect. These are the pillars of a life well lived and a love well shared. With that, the night came to a close. The young people rose, their hearts and minds enriched by the evening's teachings. They thanked Esmeralda for her wisdom, knowing they would carry her lessons with them always. As they left, the stars still shining brightly overhead, they felt a deeper connection to themselves and the world around them. Have you ever felt like there's more to human connection than what meets the eye? Perhaps you've questioned the deeper emotions hidden beneath the surface of our everyday interactions, or wondered what it truly means to guard your heart and protect your inner self. In today's video, we'll dive into a powerful story that explores the subtle yet profound ways we protect our emotions, maintain our dignity, and choose who we allow into our lives. Through the tale of a woman whose strength lies not just in her appearance, but in the emotional boundaries she creates, you'll discover the life-changing lessons about self-respect, resilience, and the true meaning of intimacy. Watch until the end to learn how this story reveals timeless wisdom that can transform the way you approach relationships and personal growth. Insight that might just help you unlock a deeper understanding of your own emotional strength and worth.